Hello. In July of 1863, a Union burial detail at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, made a startling discovery near Cemetery Ridge. Among the bodies covering the ground, the wreckage of the Confederate attack during the battle, the Union men found a dead woman wearing the uniform of a Confederate private. This burial detail had stumbled upon one of the most intriguing stories of the Civil War: the multitude of women who fought on the front line. Although the clandestine nature of the activity makes an accurate count impossible, conservative estimates of female soldiers in the Civil War puts the numbers somewhere between 400 and 700 women. Today, I will discuss one way that women contributed to the Civil War, and that's by posing as men to fight in that war. It is an accepted convention that the Civil War was a man's fight. Images of women during that conflict center on self-sacrificing nurses, romantic spies, or brave ladies maintaining the home front in the absence of their men. The men, of course, marched off to war, lived in germ-ridden camps, engaged in heinous battle, languished in appalling prison camps, and died horribly, yet heroically. This conventional picture of gender roles during the Civil War does not tell the entire story. Men were not the only ones to fight that war. Women bore arms and charged into battle. Like the men, there were women who lived in camp, died in prisons, and died for their respective causes. It is perhaps hard to imagine how the women soldiers maintained their necessary deception, or even how they successfully managed to enlist. Well, it probably was very easy. In assuming the male disguise, women soldiers picked male names, and the army recruiters, both northern and southern, did not ask for proof of identity. These women padded the waist of their trousers and cut their hair short. An example is Loretta Velasquez. She wore a false mustache, developed a masculine gait, learned to smoke cigars, and padded her uniform coat to make herself look more muscular. While recruits on both sides of the conflict were theoretically subject to physical examinations, those exams were usually farcical. Most recruiters only looked for physical handicaps such as deafness, poor eyesight, or lameness. Neither army standardized the medical exams, and those charged with performing them hardly ever ordered recruits to strip. The roughly 750 women enlisted a test of the lax nature of recruitment physical checks. Once in the ranks, successful soldier women probably learned to act and talk like men. With their uniforms loose and ill-fitting, and with so many underage boys in the ranks, women, especially due to their lack of facial hair, could pass as young men. Also, Victorian men, by and large, were modest by today's standards. Soldiers slept in their clothes, bathed in their underwear, and went as long as 6 weeks without changing their underclothes. Many refused to use the odorous and disgusting long, open, trenched latrines of camp. Thus, a woman soldier would not call undue attention to herself. If she acted modestly, trekked to the woods to answer the call of nature, and attend to other personal matters, or even left camp before dawn, to privately bathe in a nearby stream. Much of the information available on Civil War soldiers, female soldiers, is found in their obituaries, despite the fact that the Army did not acknowledge or advertise their existence. It is surprising that the women soldiers of the Civil War are not better known today. After all, their existence was known at the time and through the rest of the 19th century. The majority of historians who have written about the common soldiers of the war have either ignored women in the ranks or trivialized their experience, while references, usually in passing, are sometimes found. The assumption many respected Civil War historians have is that soldier women were eccentric and their presence isolated. Textbooks hardly ever mentioned these women. I'd also like to note that women served as spies during the Civil War as well. Conclusion. In closing, herein lies the importance of the women combatants of the Civil War. It is not their individual exploits, but the fact that they fought. While their service could not significantly alter the course of the war, women soldiers deserve remembrance because their actions display them as uncommon and revolutionary, with a valor at odds with Victorian views of women's proper role. Quite simply, the women in the ranks, both Union and Confederate, refused to stay in their socially mandated place, even if it meant resorting to subterfuge to achieve their goal of being soldiers. They faced not only the guns of the adversary, but also the sexual prejudices of their society. The women soldiers of the Civil War merit recognition in modern American society because they were trailblazers. Women's service in the military is socially accepted today. Yet modern women soldiers are still officially barred from direct combat. Since the Persian Gulf War, debate has raged over whether women are fit for combat, and the issue is still unresolved. The women soldiers of the Civil War were capable fighters. From a historical viewpoint, the women combatants of 1861 to 1865 were not just ahead of their time, they were ahead of our time. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this informative speech.